This episode of Euphoria does not feel like a step forward. It feels like the moment every character is finally forced to stop running and look directly at the damage they have become. Rue is buried in fear and somehow still alive. Cassie is turning pain into performance. Maddie is rising in the most dangerous room possible. And Nate is still out here losing body parts like the universe put him on a monthly subscription plan. Hey, what's up everyone? Come back to Breakdown Epic. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Now, I am going to be honest right away. The opening fake-out with Rue should have annoyed me. After the previous episode ending, it really looked like the show was about to do something completely insane and smash her head in with a polo mallet. But episode 6 actually earns that decision back, because what follows is not just shock, it is one of the darkest and most emotionally layered episodes of the season so far. The whole episode feels built around one idea. Every character is being forced to stand still and face the truth about who they are becoming, and no storyline carries that more strongly than Rue's.
Let's start with Alamo, because I did not expect the cold open to make me understand him more, but it absolutely did. We go back to his childhood, and what we see is not just a tragic backstory, it is the blueprint for the man he becomes. His mother is cold, survival-driven, emotionally unavailable. Then, Preston enters, and for a second, the episode almost tricks you into thinking this might be some rare Euphoria moment of tenderness. He gives young Alamo comfort. He seems kind. He seems safe. And then the whole thing falls apart, because it was a setup. That one betrayal explains so much. If every act of kindness in your childhood ended with deception, then of course you grow into someone who sees manipulation everywhere. Of course trust becomes weakness. Of course love becomes something you assume is temporary or fake. In my opinion, this backstory does not excuse Alamo at all, but it makes it much more interesting. He is not just violent. He is a man shaped by the belief that every warm hand is hiding a knife. And that connects directly to Rue. He does not kill her because killing her would be simple. He uses her because using people is how he understands power.
Rue begging for her life and then desperately pulling Faye into the conversation is one of the most intense stretches of the episode, because you can feel that she knows she has no real moves left. She is improvising survival second by second. The Faye angle is fascinating too, because somehow Faye continues to exist inside pure chaos and still occasionally manages to be useful. The copied key plan is desperate enough on its own, but what makes it really disturbing is when Alamo puts the responsibility back on Rue. He is not sending his own people, he is sending her. That means if the robbery fails, she takes the fall. If it succeeds, she is still trapped deeper in his world. There is no winning there. Then the episode gives us one of the creepiest little metaphors of the season with the snake story. That story is not subtle, but it works. The dancer thinks the snake is curling up beside her for warmth or comfort, when really it is just measuring her for consumption. And the second that story lands, you realize it is not just about the snake. It is about every dangerous person in Rue's life. Every one of them offers proximity before taking something from her. Lori, Alamo, addiction itself.
They all pretend to be systems of relief before revealing themselves as systems of appetite. That is why Rue's church scene hits so hard for me. For once, she's not trying to run, not trying to perform, not trying to outplay anyone. She's just exhausted and looking for some kind of meaning. When she says that if God exists, maybe redemption exists too, that may be the most emotionally honest Rue has sounded all season. And the cruel part is that the moment she reaches for hope, she finds out her family has already been touched by Alamo's reach. That changes everything. Rue is not just trapped anymore. Her mother and sister are now leverage. The danger is not abstract, it is intimate. Now, while all of that is happening, the episode also quietly destroys Rue and Jules even more. Their scene starts almost beautifully. It feels small,
domestic, real, and for about 5 seconds you think maybe there's still something human left between them that has not been poisoned. Then it turns ugly again. Rue says something cruel, Jules reacts, Rue literally falls backward into the canvas, and honestly it is almost too perfect symbolically. Their relationship has become exactly that. Messy, half-formed, damaged, and impossible to hold without ruining something. Now, let's shift to Cassie because, wow, this might quietly be one of her best episodes.
For the first time in a while, it feels like the show is giving her something more than just desperation and chaos. She is still deep inside that world of performance and online identity, yes, but when she breaks during the scene on Ella Night, it suddenly stops feeling like she is only selling herself. For one moment, she is actually using something real. Her pain becomes usable in a way that feels almost artistic, and that is what makes the role so important. It gives her the possibility of turning damage into something meaningful instead of just something profitable. But of course, Euphoria never gives anything cleanly. To keep that future, she has to delete the one thing that gave her money and a sense of control. So again, the episode asks the same question it asks Rue, in a different form. Who are you when the survival mechanism has to go? Cassie deleting that account is bigger than it looks. It is not just deleting content, it is deleting the version of herself she built to survive. And I also love that Lexi gets pulled right back into the mess. Patricia asking Lexi to start shaping storylines for Cassie's character is one of those subtle but dangerous moments.
Because if there is one thing we know about Lexi, it is that giving her access to someone else's emotional material can get very risky very fast. Then we get Nate, and at this point, his storyline has become so dark it almost loops back around into absurdity. He celebrates getting money from Cassie like his life is back on track, and then almost immediately gets more of himself physically removed by Naz's people. The show is basically treating his body like a visual scoreboard for his collapse. And honestly, it works. Nate is not just losing power, he is being dismantled piece by piece. But the real surprise for me in this episode is Maddie. Maddie is quietly becoming one of the strongest players on the board, and the episode knows it. She walks into these dangerous spaces and does not shrink. She negotiates, she reads people, she makes herself useful without becoming submissive. And Alamo noticing that is huge. He clearly respects sharpness, maybe because he understands it. That does not mean she is safe, but it does mean she's not entering his orbit like prey. In my opinion, Maddie's rise this season has been one of the smartest shifts the show has made. Everyone else is spiraling emotionally while she keeps evolving structurally. She is learning how power actually works.
And that is why the ending with Rue matters so much. Rue pulling over, stepping out, and seeing that burning tree is not just a cool visual. It is the whole episode condensed into one image. The title, Stand Still and See Clearly, gives it a spiritual layer, a moment of revelation, a forced pause. But I actually think the deeper meaning is psychological. Rue has spent the entire season running, from Lori, from Alamo, from addiction, from consequences, from herself. And now the world literally puts fire in front of her and says, stop, stand still, look at what is happening, look at what you are becoming, look at what comes next. That is why I do not see the burning tree as salvation. I see it as judgment, or maybe reckoning is the better word. And the reason the episode works so well is because Rue is not the only one facing that reckoning. Alamo confronts the betrayal that made him. Cassie confronts the possibility of becoming something bigger than her humiliation. Maddie steps closer to real power. Nate confronts the fact that he is no longer untouchable. Everyone is being forced to stand still, and what they see may ruin them. But anyway, that is my breakdown of Euphoria Season 3, Episode 6, and why I think this episode is one of the strongest and darkest of the seasons so far. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, what do you think the burning tree really means? Redemption? Warning? Or the moment Rue finally realizes there's nowhere left to run? I will catch you in the next one.